All right. If you're somebody who does not think financial fees makes a difference in your retirement plan, then I need you to pay attention. Listen to this right now. The Department of Labor says that just a 1% fee can lower your retirement savings by 28% over a 35-year time period. So let's break that down with some real numbers and think of it this way. You've got $1 million in your 401k. You lose 25% of it to taxes. You lose over 25% of it to fees. You get to enjoy $500,000 of your million, half of the money that you save. So, Sean, talk to us about this. Are people aware of this, and what can we do about it?
Wow, that doesn't sound good. And it's a really important piece of the puzzle. And most people don't know what they're truly paying. And that's because the fee structure is usually presented in a very confusing way, especially in a 401k. When I ask people, how much are you paying in fees? The answer almost always refers to only what would be called management fees. But there are additional fee categories that are often overlooked. Administrative fees that might be charged for daily plan activities, record keeping, statement generation, tax reporting. There's sale charges, sometimes called commission or loads, that may be charged when purchasing or selling a fund. And most funds charge an internal fee, a percentage of the balance invested. And many of these fees don't show up on a statement, so it's not easy to find all the fees being charged. Jerry and Charlene came into my office for a retirement planning assessment, and I asked them how much their current advisor was charging the IRA and if they knew the expenses in their 401k. And Jerry said the advisor was charging 1%, and Charlene thought her 401k had no expenses. And after running their accounts through our fee filter, we found the IRA was paying 2.2% and the 401k had expenses of 1.4%. And I asked them how they felt about those true amounts, and they said, not good at all. And so I asked them how much they think they should be paying. This is where most people struggle with fees, because costs are only concerned when there's a lack of value. But how do you calculate the value? That's the big question. There are many benefits that a great advisor will bring to a family's quality of life, from transitional years, which is typically starts when they're 10 years from retirement, then throughout the retirement years and into their kids' lives. Individuals should be asking themselves and talking with their spouses about key items that'll help them determine if they should be working with a financial consultant and absorbing those costs, because the alternative is to do it yourself. The key question is, are you the person who will bring your family the best financial outcome? You've got to ask yourself, and do you want to sign up to be that person? Do you have the discipline to get the knowledge and then to keep up with the knowledge needed to be successful? If you didn't intend to be your family's financial advisor during your retirement, then maybe working with one is in your family's best interest. A good financial consultant will communicate their value in their knowledge and experience and in the services they provide to offset those costs. As a fiduciary firm, we manage Social Security strategies. The right strategy could increase spendable income by tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars through retirement. Tax mitigation strategies. We often see six-figure, many times multiple six-figure tax savings, which increases spendable income and legacy to the kids. Income planning is critical. The strategy you use to receive income from your resources could have another six-figure effect on your spendable income through retirement, and then again affect the legacy you leave for the kids. Many benefits that consultants can add will not show up in the investment rate of return, but they can have a significant impact on a family's future outcome. I'll also explain to families when they come into my office the concept of net results, specifically referring to investment rate of return. If an advisor charges a total fee of 1.5% annually and then generates a 1.5% higher rate of return than you could have done on your own, you just paid $0 for their service. And now you have to determine if the rest of the service they provided were a benefit.
Well, let me ask you this, Sean, because I feel like we probably have some listeners out there right now trying to think, when was the last time I even reviewed what I'm paying in fees? So I wanted to ask you how often somebody needs to go back and visit and review what kind of fees they're paying, and what's the best way to even start that conversation with your financial advisor, because it can be an uncomfortable conversation to have.
Yeah, well, individuals should be monitoring fees quarterly, at least annually, just to make sure there's no mistakes and to keep it all transparent. As a firm, we're monitoring fees monthly. It's really important to me that the families we work for have the highest confidence that we're getting it right in all areas. But Casey, you brought up a good question. What's the best way to start the fee conversation with an existing advisor? Look, for some people, that's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Start by figuring out the fees on the statement, and then ask the advisor if there are any additional fees not disclosed on the statement. And then lastly, compare the value you receive from the service the firm provides. Compare that with the cost. And then, as always, get a second opinion. But going back to Jerry and Charlene, they decided to go through our comprehensive planning process to use as that second opinion. And after figuring out their true fees, they wanted to know the value we would bring and the costs associated as a comparison to their current advisory firm. So I want to extend an invitation to you, our listeners, for our first 5 callers. And so you want to do this right away, because for our first 5 callers, we're going to provide you with your own individual financial planning assessment, taxes, that fee filter we've been discussing, income planning, those elements you have to be considering for retirement. And we're going to do all of that with no charge. It's that important. So give our team a call, 559-847-0039. Schedule your own individual financial planning assessment. Again, that number is 559-847-0039.
You do not want to miss out on this chance to meet with Sean and get your big questions answered. He cares about your success. He is excited to help, but spots are limited. So pick up the phone, dial 559-847-0039, and the office will help you find that next convenient time on the calendar. Remember, there is no obligation attached to this either. This is a complimentary consultation. You've just got to call 559-847-0039, and we are standing by right now to take that call. Or, of course, you can always get connected online. We are at Mason Street retirementinsights.com. All right, Sean, it's that time of year. I got to ask you, are you a college football fan?
I am such a big fan, and I'm right here next to Fresno State. We're big supporters of them.
Hey, and they just killed my Georgia Southern Eagles opening weekend. Did you see that?
Well, I did. I missed that game. We were invited to a tailgate, but at the last minute, something came up for Michelle, so we didn't go to it. But we're catching the next one for sure. But I was so happy that they won their game opener.
Well, not me, because I'm a Georgia Southern alumni, Sean, but I'm happy for you guys, okay? So I'm a Georgia Southern fan, but I'm also a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan. I'm a fan of the state of Georgia, and as a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan, former Alabama head coach Nick Saban was our kryptonite for so many seasons. However, I am able to acknowledge and respect the talent that man has as a coach and the amazing success that he found in his career. I just hate that we could hardly ever beat him. Now, currently, Coach Saban is in his second season as a co-host on ESPN Game Day since he is retired. And he was recently asked if he missed anything about coaching college football, and his answer was being a part of a team. Take a listen.
The relationships that you have with players and coaches and people in the organization and how you can impact them. And, I've been a part of a team since I was 9 years old playing Little League Baseball. And I just had a tremendous fear that I would really, really miss it. And that part I miss. But the working 14 hours a day, the recruiting, the changes that we're going through in college football, we don't have any regrets.
So I want to relate this to retirement, Sean, because I see a lot of parallels here. When you're in the workplace, that's also like being a part of a team. So while some people may miss their teammates when they end up leaving the workplace, I wanted to ask you, what kind of new team are you able to introduce people to when you're working with them throughout their retirement planning process?
Well, Hall of Famer Nick Saban, one of the greats, who ranks right up there with the Lou Holtz, Bear Bryants, Woody Hayeses, and so many others. I just feel fortunate to have been a spectator in his era with Alabama. And I do understand his sentiment in leaving and then missing the team. I've lived it for years with the families I work for. It's actually my favorite part of what I do is when they retire and start living the new chapter. It might be the biggest life change they've ever experienced. And my team is really focused on how they feel. It can be exciting and nervy at the same time, and it takes a while to settle in. Having a support team who knows and understands what you're going through can make a huge difference. Families, from the time they come into our office, they start to feel the team culture, how we're all truly a family, and the people we work with are part of that family, starting with Stephanie and her big smile, welcoming with cookies and drinks, to knowing that Vicki is their concierge with them every step of the way, making sure they have a great experience. Michelle and I getting to know what's important to them and helping design a plan to create that peace of mind. And then having the confidence that Jeanette is managing all the financial transactions, ensuring a smooth and official transition. This was a really neat experience. Janine, who had just gone through our onboarding process, asked our team to come into the lobby. And she wanted to tell us how she felt. And it was the greatest thing. She told us from the time she signed up for a retirement planning workshop with Vicki and Stephanie, making sure she knew the directions and how to navigate Fresno State parking, to what to bring to her first appointment, and then being introduced to the whole team. She said she felt heard and understood, and that we all truly cared about her. And Jeanette keeping her updated through the process of moving her accounts put her at ease. She said she's more excited about retirement than ever because she knows it's going to work out how she had hoped, and she has a team on her side. That felt great to all of us. I knew that we were all feeling the same thing. And that's what Janine was feeling, is why we all love what we do. It's our cause.
I mean, that's so well said, Sean. The truth is, a lot of what we love about work, I think it's not the money, but it's that sense of purpose and that sense of community that our work can give us. And I talk about this a lot. It's that emotional side of retirement that I think a lot of people don't expect until they're in it for the first time and experiencing it for themselves. So, Sean, I know you've got a class coming up soon that you're teaching called Retirement Planning Today. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, it's an awesome class. We've been teaching this over at Fresno State, 12 years now. Teach it a couple times a year, usually in the spring and the fall. And the fall courses are coming up right now. It's really comprehensive. We go into everything from Social Security to investing to estate planning. Comes with workbooks. Workbooks are extremely comprehensive. It's just a great class.
And you got 2 date options that people can choose from, starting on September 25th, and then you take your second class October 2nd. Or if you want to do Tuesdays, you can start on September 30th and take your second class October 7th. This is 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at Fresno State University at the University Business Center. So, Sean, if people want to get signed up, how can they do that? What should they do?
Yeah, go to the website at Mason Street retirementinsights.com or give us a call at 559-847-0039 and we'll get you all set up.
Yeah, don't miss out on this opportunity to take one of Sean's classes. I promise you will not regret it. Give us a call. We will get you signed up if that's the easiest way for you. 559-847-0039. That is going to do it for us this week here on Mason Street Retirement Insights. As always, thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from Sean Mason, president of Mason Street Wealth Management. Take care.
Mason Street Wealth Management, MSWM, is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by MSWM on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of Motivate Investments. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. Investment advisory services are offered through Motivate Investments, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. The information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicit solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Offered through Sean A. Mason, California, insurance license number 0B54860. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Motivate Investments. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. MSWM is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if MSWM is licensed in your state, please call 559-892-0002.